Hey YouTube, this is Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters, your guide in DIY multimedia production, here with another tutorial. And today I'm doing a Darktable tutorial as promised. And I'm not showing my face today just because I want to have enough view of the screen so you guys can really see all of the stuff in Darktable here. And you don't really need to see my face. So let's go ahead and get started. When you open up Darktable, right now I'm using Darktable 2.2.5, which is the newest stable version as of October 13th, 2017. Jeez, I just time traveled 10 years. But, so yeah, when you open up Darktable, the first thing you're going to see is something called Lighttable. And what Lighttable is basically just the photo organization part of Darktable. So you may not have any photos in here yet when you first open it up. You might just have a big empty area. And so to get photos into Darktable, what you're going to use is this left area up on the top left where it says Import. So you can either import an image by clicking the top, a single image. You can import a folder, a whole folder full of images. You can scan for devices. If you had a camera connected, it would see that, and then you can import directly from the camera. And then once you have some images imported, you have a lot of cool options as far as sorting and viewing, and all of that is done right here in this Collect Images section. So all you have to do here is you can click that little drop-down menu, and then you'll notice all these different things that you can sort by. Which are film roll, folders, camera, tag, date, time, history, color label, title, description, creator, publisher, rights, lens, focal length, ISO, aperture, file name, geotagging. Color label, that's something that you can actually do within Darktable. And the film roll is also something that happens within Darktable. If you look down here where it says recently used collections, you'll see where it says film roll, JPG, film roll, DragCon. All of these things are film rolls that I created basically by importing whole folders full of photos. When you import a whole folder full of photos, it will create something called a film roll. And that's just what basically what Darktable calls its folders or albums rather than folders. Everything that you do within Darktable, you're not working on the actual images themselves. Darktable uses SQL or SQL to create a database of images, and then also uses what is called a sidecar file, which all of your edits are done on the sidecar file, which are basically, telling Darktable all of the changes and edits you made to that photo. So it doesn't save any actual edits to the photo. If you want to save the photo with the edits, then you export the photo. But we'll go over that a little bit later. And one of the coolest things about this Collect Images area, to me, I really like how you can sort by camera. And you'll notice here my two different Canons. I have the EOS 350D and then the PowerShot SX40hs, which is what's selected right now. And the reason why I wanted to show you the PowerShot is because I have the Canon Hack Developers Kit installed on this PowerShot, which gives it the ability to shoot in RAW format. But however, when you shoot in RAW on the PowerShot with the CHDK installed, sometimes you'll get something like this. And if you look on the edges of this photo, you see, basically you're seeing the outer edges of the lens. And so you're having some lens distortion going on here that normally gets corrected within the camera when it's writing to JPEG. But since this is going directly to RAW, it's not doing its usual corrections that the camera will normally do. But fortunately, Darktable has more than enough ability to correct this, and it's very easy to correct it within Darktable. So I'm going to show you that here in a little bit. But first, let's go back to Lighttable, which is the organizer. And let's talk about colors, color grouping. If you look here, this little green dot on the top of all of these photos, the way that I selected that, and what I'm actually doing here, if you look at the top, you can sort by different criteria. Right now I have it set to color label, but you could also go by time, or rating, ID, group, full path, file name, etc., etc. But let's go back to color table, or color label. And the reason why I selected that is these are all photos that I want to do some editing to put them in my portfolio. And I labeled those all with a green label so I could sort it this way, then find the ones that I wanted to work on up on top. In order to create a label, all you have to do is just click on one to where it's highlighted, and then just click this little dot down here on the bottom, whichever color you want to use. If you want to get rid of the color label, then you can just click the last one there, and that removes all color labels. And that removes all color labels from the photo. Look at that awesome photo right there. So, okay, where was I? Let's move on and go to Darktable right now. And what Darktable is, this is basically your editor. Or not basically, it is your editor. And so, to get into Darktable, you can either highlight the photo and click Darkroom, not Darktable. To get to Darkroom, you can either highlight the photo and click it, click Darkroom over here in the top corner, or you can just double-click the photo itself within Lighttable, and it'll take you right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to work on this photo, and I can show you a couple of little tricks that I figured out here in the past couple of weeks with using this. And if you're wondering about this photo, this is actually the inside of a building called the Oculus, which is in Manhattan, and it's part of the New World Trade Center, and it's pretty darn cool. It's when you go inside, it's really breathtaking. It's just the ceiling is unreal. The whole building is completely unreal. It's like a giant. It's like being inside of a giant skeleton. But just wanted to mention that it's pretty cool. So if you're visiting New York City ever, definitely go check that out. So first off, let's take care of this lens distortion so we don't see the edge of our lens on the photo. So before we do that though, let's talk about what all this stuff is over here on the right. This is basically all of your editing tools, and they call these modules within Darktable. So they're basically organized by groups. You can click on this first one here and it shows you all of the currently active modules, and then the star are all of your favorite modules, and you can edit that and change those as you like. Basic group deals with your most commonly used modules. The tone group deals with contrast and other tone type things. Color group is obviously color. And then correction group, I think it's correction group. Yeah, that's going to deal with things like denoise and lens distortion and things like that. I think lens distortion should be there. And then lastly, you have effects group, where you have kind of more special effect type things like framing, vignetting, grain, low pass, low light vision, etc., etc. So let's go back to the correction group. And sometimes if you don't see the module that you want up here, it's going to be down here in this More Modules section. So what we're looking for is one called Lens Correction. And here it is right here. So let's go ahead and click that. And then we're going to click the little arrow over here to the right to open that up. And you'll notice that it says camera lens not found, please select manually. So what I'm going to do is first click Canon. And then I'm going to go down and select, if you're using a Canon that's listed here, you're just going to select the Canon that you have. The actual SX40 is not one that's available in this in Darktable, so I'm just going to use kind of the closest one, which is the SX220hs. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then I'm going to click the second drop down, and you'll see another Canon. And then right here, you notice this SX220hs and compatibles with CHDK and DNG, which is what I'm using. CHDK is the Canon Hack Development Kit, which allows me to shoot in DNG. So if I turn that on, watch the magic. There we go. So it got rid of that, and that's pretty cool, right? So that's just one thing showing you can do here in Darktable. But if we look up here on the top right, these are our color and exposure meters. And you'll note, you get a lot of information just from looking at these. You can see what's, we have a little bit of the darkness could be a little stronger there, so we can just slide that back, and then you can watch it affect the photo. And then if you really want to get into analyzing the photos, you could click down here. We have raw overexposure indicators, and then you can see all the little, where it lights up in color is telling you that it's raw overexposed. And then one very useful one is the toggle under and overexposed indication, which is this one right next to it. And then we'll probably see some up in those lights. Yeah, so we have some overexposure up here, and then some underexposure where the blue highlights are and red highlights are overexposure. So none of that is too bad for me. I mean, I think that's pretty normal. And you could make your corrections, you know, based on that information. If you wanted to go into the brightness or the tone group rather, then in here you have your levels. Local contrast, which we can play with. Let's go ahead and turn this up a little bit. Detail in the local contrast will give you kind of a, if you kind of go crazy with it, it'll give you a bit of an HDR look. Just to exaggerate it, let me show you. Actually, I kind of like it like that. So, and then let's go back into color. And I think what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to turn it to black and white. So let's turn on the monochrome module. Okay, now to zoom into the photo, all you need to do is just scroll in with your mouse. In my case, I'm using a trackpad. And now we can see quite a bit of noise down there when you zoom in. Let it refocus. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of that noise. So we can go into the correction group. And one of the coolest denoise modules, I think, is this one called Profiled. And what this does is it uses the camera's information to determine how to adjust the denoise filter. And it really does an excellent job. So just give it a moment to finish working here. And then let's zoom back out. All right. So now we've denoised the photo, we made it monochrome, we got rid of the lens distortion. Basically, everything over here, once you do all of your edits to the photo, you'll notice you have this history over here. So you can actually take snapshots of your histories, but what's even cooler is you can click on this little bubble thing right here, and then what this will do is create a style, which is basically a preset of all of these modules, and then you could name this whatever you want. So let's do like black and white, denoise, and let's turn on the denoise. Oh yeah, let's also, in the description here, I want to say SX40hs, so I know it's for that particular camera. Otherwise, this profile denoise won't work the same on my other camera. And also, I don't want to use my lens correction on my other camera because it doesn't need it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all of these on, and then I'm going to save this. And now if we go back to our light table view, and let's select, I think I have some more photos of the inside of the Oculus. Let me find them. Yeah, here we go. Somewhere here, I just saw it. Alright, let's take a look at this one. And let's go ahead and apply that same style to it. So to do that, we can click down here. And then, what did I call it? Black and white. It's going to be on the bottom because I didn't capitalize it. Black and white denoise. So that's the one I just made. And there you go. So we just applied the same style that we did on the other photo, and we were able to do that very quickly to this same, it was a photo taken in the same room. Actually, I kind of like this one a little bit better, especially with all that processing on it. I think it looks pretty cool. And another thing you may be wondering is where I got all of these styles, and I have a ton of them, as you noticed. Well, if you just go to the Darktable website, there's actually a link on there where you can download all of those, and you just download them, and it's got like a little file in there that you open up, and then it gives you all of those styles. And there's some pretty cool ones. I haven't played with all of them, but there's definitely some very cool ones in there to mess with. Now, some other very useful features of Darktable. Let me go back to the light table view, and I'm going to mark this one green because I'm going to use this one in my portfolio as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this butterfly photo, or butterfly and bumblebee, I should say. And what I want to show you here are some ways that you can use Darktable to basically do spot corrections on certain items in the photo, so you don't have to process the entire photo. For example, what if I wanted to just sharpen or just brighten this area in the middle, or brighten and sharpen, and leave the background kind of, because I don't want the background to be any sharper. I like it blurry like that. But first off, what I want to do is kind of correct my exposure. So to do that, I can just look at my levels right here, and then I can just click on, you can see that the high levels are a little bit low, so I can just slide that over, and now it's going to bring the brightness up. Oops, too much. Let's go back. Okay. Alright, and now, after we did that, let's go into our sharpen module, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Let's turn up our threshold a little bit. And now if I just want to sharpen this middle area, what I can do is go to this blend section and then click on drawn mask. And then what I can do is click this little add brush, and then you'll notice this gives me this circle here. And so what I can do is literally just click and drag in the area that I want to sharpen. And you can resize this brush as well, but I'm just leaving it like that. So now that only applies the sharpen module to the area where I drew the mask. So now you can see that the back hasn't gotten any sharper, but our butterfly and our bumblebee have. So this is really cool. I really like this feature. And then just to get rid of that line and stuff, to not see that anymore, you just, unopen the, or, click the arrow there on the right to the module, and it takes that away. And then let's say we want to put a vignette on here just to draw a little more attention to these insects in the middle. We can go to our effects group, and then let's select vignetting. Now let's go ahead and squeeze this in a little bit. Move it over towards our insects there. And then let's zoom out. Let's click on this little area up here. Then we go to small. And now let's just make that a little less drastic. Go back to normal size. Okay. And that looks pretty good to me. Let's go back over to light table first. And I want to show you geotagging. And geotagging is something I really like because then you can go over here and look at this, click on this other area, and we go to map. And the reason why this is cool for me is because then I can take photos and then I can put them on my map, and then I can look at this map and be like, oh, I have a photo here that I took, and knowing exactly where they are. Plus, when you export the image, all of this data, GPS data, is actually saved to the images. So it's pretty cool to use, and you can see I have images that I mapped all over the place here. So if you want to do this, if you want to geotag an image, it's quite simple. All you have to do is find where you were. For example, that butterfly image was taken in Brooklyn Botanic Garden, so I can just click it and drag it into here. And then let's go back over to Light Table. And now if we scroll down on the left area, you can see here in the metadata, it will tell you where it was actually taken because we dragged it into our geotagging. So now it has latitude and longitude coordinates on the actual metadata. So what you can do now, you can actually add a title. So let's call it Butterfly and Bumblebee. I'm going to call this one 2 because I have another one of a butterfly and bumblebee. And then in the description, oops, put whatever you want, creator, and you can put your name, publisher, whatever, you know, same thing. And then rights. And then you just click apply. And then if you want to add tags, you go down here to this area. I'm going to get rid of these Darktable tags. You just highlight the tag you want to get rid of and press detach. And then I have a lot of tags that I'm reusing, and it remembers all the tags that you put in there. So you can just select the ones. Or you can start typing it and it'll come up. And then once you have all the tags in there that you want to use, and you want to export the image, then you come down here to Export Selected area, and you click this little folder icon to tell you where you want to, or to tell it where you want to export the photo. And I'm going to select Stock, and then to upload, even though I already uploaded this one, but I want to use this folder here in a minute. And then we're going to just select the type that we want to export, and JPEG 8-bit being the most common for the internet. But if you want to go higher quality, you could do PNG 16-bit or TIFF at 16 or 32-bit, which is going to give you a ridiculously huge file, especially if you do a 32-bit. And then once you do all of that, you can do rescale or resizing if you like. And then you can select your color profile and all of that, and then you just then you just click export. And once you click export, it just exports the photo to wherever you wanted to save it. And then there you have it. You're all done. So overall, Darktable is an amazing piece of photo editing software, especially for one that's free. I think it's really, really good. Since I started using it, it's quickly become basically my favorite photo editing software that I've used. I really like this ugly flower I took a photo of. But anyway, hopefully you found this tutorial educational and helpful. And if you did, please feel free to click that like button and subscribe. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to let me know. And yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody, and see you next time.